Alicia Top here on ABC News. Today we have a special report on Japan. As you can see on the map, this is where Japan is. Japan's capital is Tokyo. Tokyo is a fast-paced and pop culture place where new fashion always comes and goes. In Japan, people speak 3 different languages. The first language is Japanese, of course, but only 99.9% people speak that language. And 1% of the people, they speak Korean or English. Back to the map, Japan is located near North Korea, South Korea, and near the North Pacific Ocean. The population in Japan is 83.2 million people. It's crazy because women live up to 86 years and men live up to 79 years. It's all because of their diets. They drink or eat less dairy, they eat more fish than red meat, and they eat more rice and lots of soy, like bean sprouts and tofu. Let's hear from Carrie. Carrie, what's the climate is like in Japan in this season?
Thank you, Alicia, for bringing this up. To start off with, the weather today in Japan is 68 degrees Fahrenheit in Japan. Let's just get right into it and go straight to the seasons. Winter starts out December through February. In those months, the climate is quite dry, windy up to 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 5 degrees Celsius, but often sunny. And what people like to wear are big sweaters and overcoats. After winter is spring. So spring starts March through May. There's the sound when spring comes when blossom starts to bloom, meaning winter is ending. People in those days like to wear light clothing like thin jackets and thin sweaters. The next and one of my favorite seasons is summer. Summer starts out on June through August. The weather is very humid and hot. In summer, it's the most fun because there's a lot of fun events and festivals to attend. Sometimes in summer it may start raining, but usually it's very hot. Now you may think, oh, Japan is so good, but sometimes a typhoon can hit. The most recent one was in 2004, killing 186 people. Now let's not focus on the negative things. Our next season is autumn. When autumn comes, expect cool temperature and a light breeze. During autumn, people wear things similar to spring, like thin sweaters and thin jackets. Now on to geography with Kimberly.
Thanks for the compliment. Here in Japan, their famous landmarks are Mount Fuji, Hiroshima, and Kyoto. Mount Fuji is a dormant volcano and one of the tallest mountains in Japan. In Hiroshima, a place called Peace Memorial Park City Center and Peace Memorial Museum is an honored place for the many people who died from the atomic bomb. Kyoto, a city in Japan, is famous for its many historic buildings, palaces, temples, tea houses, theaters, and gardens. The famous landforms are Mount Fuji again, Mount Haku, and Mountain Tateyama. Mountain Haku was famous because of its beautiful waterfalls and beech forests. For Mountain Tateyama, it's famous because it's one of the Holy Three Mountains. Still on the topic of geography, we will start off with the 3 famous bodies of water. Lake Okutama is famous for being the water source in Tokyo, the capital. Shimanto River is famous because of the rich forests there and pure water flowing through the lake. And our last famous river is Mogami River. It's famous for how it flows all the way to Yamagata Prefecture. Last but not least, my last news about geography is Japan's major cities. The cities are Tokyo, Yokohama, Osaka. These cities are major because they hold a high population in any other cities in Japan. Tokyo's current population is 9.3 million. Yokohama's population is 3.7 million. And Osaka's population is 2.7 million. This is my news on Japan's geography. To my right, we will hear Christine and tell us about Japan's culture, something fun and new about it.
Fun about Japan's culture is that the rice that they produce was traded in for currency, and rice was eaten as staple food, aka known as a side dish for over 2,000 years. Something I never knew about Japan's food, or that was cool about it, is that the famous meat that most of the Americans eat was called Kobe beef. This meat is only sold at 8 restaurants in America. Now enough about food because it's making me really hungry. Now something else about their culture, the government. The government has 3 branches in the Constitution. It's the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. The executive branch is for people who bring out laws for people to know. The legislative branch is for people who make laws, and the judicial branch is about people who evaluate the laws. This might be a really boring topic to talk about, but it's still kind of cool. But let's talk about a kind of better topic about Japan's culture, the major sports they play. The most played and important sport is baseball, football, and sumo wrestling. Sumo wrestling was mostly played because it was a traditional sport for over 1,500 years. Baseball was important because it was introduced into 1873 and was swept into popularity. And football was important because when it reached the Olympic Games, it became popular in 1964. That's about it for me for saying the culture. It's back to Alicia telling us about interesting facts.
Hi, Christine. I'm about to gamble with something different. It's interesting facts about Japan. My first interesting fact is that Japan has a political conflict between China. They're fighting over little islands to make a military base. My second interesting fact is that Japan's best way of transport is by train. Usually in America, almost everybody uses cars to travel, but in Japan, they use train because it's quick, efficient, and they have an excuse to see the beautiful view in Japan. My last and final fact is that Japan's worst and most popular health issue is stroke and diabetes. People around 70 or 90 years old could get stroke, but people around 50 or 60 years old, they could get diabetes. Thank you for hearing our special report on Japan. Stick around to hear more places and more news on ABC News. Have a nice day.